And now it's time for this hour's news review. U.S. President Joe Biden has presented a $715 billion defense budget, which shows an increase of about $10 billion compared with the previous year. A top Pentagon official said the budget takes, quote, a clear-eyed approach to an increasingly competitive China. The budget would pay more than $5 billion for an initiative aimed at countering Beijing in the Indo-Pacific region. It calls for developing hypersonic weapons and other next-generation systems to counter Russia and China. The defense budget also earmarks more than $27 billion for modernizing the United States' nuclear arsenal. I'd like to welcome our guests to this news review. PressTV's very own Colin Campbell out of Washington, D.C., and Jason Unruhe, political analyst and commentator out of Ontario. Thank you both for being with us. Starting it off with Colin. Well, Colin, tell us exactly what this proposed defense budget comes down to.
Hi, Marcia. Hopefully you can hear me. Sometimes the sound's cutting in and out here. But what this budget does is increases about 5% what it's already had been asking for to about $112 billion more than previously requested. And what this research and development would do is go into more artificial intelligence and maneuvering into trying to block and deter China from its adventures in the Indo-China region, as opposed to a focus on Middle East policy, which previous administrations have done. So the big takeaway here is a refocus on U.S. defense intentions away from the Middle East, at least decreasing its focus on the Middle East, focusing it more on China. And then you have the reason why they're doing this, and that is to deter China, but also using newer technologies and investing in newer technologies and trying to keep up with China in the development in its newest technologies, including artificial intelligence.
What about that, Jason? What exactly does this defense budget do? It appears that instead of, as Colin said, they're trying to deal with in a more competitive way, dealing with China, but it appears instead of dealing from a technological perspective, for example, if they were trying to become more competitive, whatever technologies they get, they're trying to put it back into dealing with so-called defense, but most would say offensive measures in dealing with military equipment or technology. Your take on what all of this means?
I think this is very much the way that the United States has continued to operate since basically its founding. It's a militaristic, imperialist, capitalist empire. This is what it's going to do. It is always going to seek out a military confrontation with China. I think that the particular reason they're doing this is because that is the edge the United States does have. It does have superior military technology at this time. Now, as it sees China continue to rise, continue to invest in new technology, etc., they realize that there may come a point when Chinese military technology surpasses their own. And then its hegemonic role as the greatest technological and military power may very well come to an end. I believe that that's primarily what they see here. Now, I think in terms of the actual competition between different powers, different aspects of the economy, et cetera, competitively, the United States will not be able to stand up to China because the political will in the United States is entirely away from infrastructure spending, despite a renewed effort of it right here as a stimulus measure. But the basic idea of research and development in all fields is not something that the mainstream political establishment in the U.S. feels is worthy of funding. They do prefer tax cuts to very large corporations and then subsidize them to carry out this kind of research rather than do it themselves. However, the Chinese model of spending inordinate amounts of public money into researching technology, et cetera, has proven to actually accelerate the rate of development. So I think the United States sees that it's losing, and they know they don't have the political will in order to catch up technologically in this realm due to ideological differences. So it is instead focusing mainly on maintaining its military superiority over the Chinese.
All right. Well, thank you both for being with me here on this news review. Colin Campbell, PressTV's correspondent out of Washington, D.C., and Jason Unruhe, political analyst and commentator out of Ontario.